All right, welcome everybody. This is Lucci and Alex Bernal from Market Inflections, coming to you with the weekly TPS webinar. TPS here stands for Turning Point Signals, and this is where myself and Alex use this software here that you see in front of you to create some high probability trades for you guys, options, equities, and also we're writing options as well. We do some credit spreads, debit spreads, and things like that. So let's kick it off here with an update from some of the free trades that we've given in the past weeks. I think last week we were talking about just sell puts on banks. You know, I think today, obviously, you know, you can see a lot of the money going back to some of the tech names. We're going to talk about Microsoft here in a second. There's been a big winner for us, but the Wells Fargo, you can see, was a big winner here off the lows there. And selling puts, guys, basically what we're doing is we're just saying, hey, you know, market looks good, rotation to the financials. You know, chances are these things aren't going to drop significantly, and we can burn some premium here on the put side by selling some puts on some banks. Friday's action was pretty interesting, though. Friday's action was pretty interesting. We did see you know, a pretty red day in some names here, Bank of America in particular. And today, Trump goes on Twitter. Did he go on Twitter and say that, or did he go on TV and say that he was down?
I think he was talking to some reporter, and he said, "Oh, we're looking real hard at splitting up the big banks." And you know, with two of his right and left hand guys coming from Goldman Sachs, I really doubt.
Hilarious, absolutely hilarious. And when he said that, Bank of America, I think, dropped like 20 cents, and then ended up at freaking highs anyway. So, you know, again, these are the algo-ridden markets here, where you know, you get that sort of HFT play in the middle of nowhere. You had an interesting look on the city here, so let's break out here and let's bring up this city. City has
right. So staying with that same theme, we really look for trades that have edge, right? So we want to set up situations where we know we have a better than 50-50 chance of making a profit. You know, the financials have been really strong. You saw today even the insurers had some good move into them. Again, it's really, in my view, just a bet on rates. Something like when rates go up 1%, Wells Fargo makes another $140 million per quarter just on interest deposits alone. So it's you know, it's kind of a no-brainer, and now it's just, you know, in my view, trying to pick your spots, you know, try to catch these moves. Citigroup again has been coiling here, or people can probably see it, you know, consolidating, but we only really got this on our radar the last week as these signals started to come in. So we're looking for a move here in Citibank.
Right. Now, would you lean on the long side just with the market where it is, or would you take the straddle here? Personally, I would take the straddle because I don't know. You just never know with this damn market. You know, and if we do kind of sell off here, there's a lot of topping signals out there. We'll talk about that in a second. But would you take the straddle here, or would you just go long?
Yeah, I personally go long. I think a lot of these banks are still pretty undervalued. Yep. And again, am more thinking this trade is just a short bonds type of play. Okay. So that's kind of the way I'm leaning. You're right. You could take a straddle here, and you know, if it clears that 62 level, then you're probably free to drop the put side. And if it makes its way through the 56, you can probably drop the call side, I would say.
Yeah. So guys, when we have some of these compressions here, when we spit them out through turning point signals, remember all this stuff we curate the right trade for you guys, and we give you several different examples. So you'd either get the straddle idea, or you get the wait for it to break a certain level idea, and then start looking at it to sell puts or go long calls or vice versa. You know, so we'll set that all up for you here. And we'll bring up that in a little bit. Let's move focus here to some of the pharma names. Let's take a look at this XBI and this IBB. Currently, Turning Point Signals has a long IBB call for June 300s. It is doing really well. I think it's up about 70% so far. And obviously, you can see the same compression here on the XBI. I think there's still some upside here. Alex, what do you think, man? You've been, you've been gung ho all these things.
Yeah, absolutely. This type of setup is widespread across the entire space, and you're seeing some of the names start to move first, and some of the bigger names, for example, Celgene, which is the primary component in the IBB, it hasn't even broken out yet. So this is, again, the early stage of this signal. What I like to tell people when I'm training them how to use the software is you do not have to rush into the first part of this signal. We know this is going to last in one direction for quite some time, and right now it's initiating to the upside. So the more time that goes by, the more we're confirming this, but at this point, I'm long and strong both these names.
Right. And if you go back a year on that IBB or 2 years or whatever, you will see a monster gap to like 320 or 340 or something like that. That's what I'm going for on the IBB here.
What I focus at with stocks a lot of times, and you'll see this being repeated over and over again, is when you get compressions at or near 52-week or all-time highs, it's kind of like one of my favorite trade setups because you've had this, 2-year consolidation on another hyper growth name. This company has like 24 drugs patented out to 2027, so their revenue stream is pretty rock solid in a lot of ways. So it's really just finding a spot to jump in here. So that's kind of the Celgene aspect of it.
Nice, guys. And remember, you guys can feel free to throw us some names here that you want us to take a look at. I know everybody is just crazy about Tesla right now. This also brings in actually another conversation that we may as well have.
Yeah.
Seeing a lot of topping signals, daily topping signals on a lot of the names that have been running. As you guys are seeing every single day, they are shooting for these names. They're shooting for the Microsofts. They're shooting for the Amazons. They're shooting for Apple, Facebook, Netflix. They're shooting for all these names, especially Tesla. And good Lord, we're going to talk about Priceline. I think we should just end with Priceline.
We'll end with Priceline because that'll be a good educational piece right there.
Amazing.
When you guys remember, you asked us about Tesla like a month ago, and we both were kind of, we weren't going to jump in front of it, even with the signal. Yep. So, it's been running here.
So what are your thoughts here about the topping signals that we're seeing on some of the big tech names? I know you pulled some up on Google, and you got them out there on, a lot of the big names here. But is it more of what you were saying before? There's even a daily signal I got on Microsoft today. Is it more of just book your profits and let these things keep rolling? Because I still think there's plenty of upside here.
Yeah, there's definitely most likely more upside in these names, but when the software finds these structures, it's really telling you that it's reached an extreme. Right. So it's obvious to see just through visual analysis that it's just gone up so far so fast that you're starting to get these top signatures. Now again, the science behind this is how it's labeled. It is called a top signal, but that, in your reptilian brain shouldn't cause you to think, oh, I'm going to short it immediately right here. That's really not what it's saying. What it's saying is back here in March that a new trend is going to start. So the trend started slowly and then it started to quicken. Now this marker is saying that this trend should at least pause, if not end, for about 30 days. So,
and quick sidebar, guys, quick sidebar, when the compression hit that blue signal, indicating that we're going to get a deviation from the norm here, and you're going to get a break from that consolidation. We had a big straddle going on Microsoft for the 65 strike, and we literally just let go of the call side. We bought it around 150. We just let go of the call side at around $4, and this thing is probably going to $70, and there's still some upside left. So the straddles, when you get these kind of compression signals, they're huge, and we're going to end this shit with Priceline anyway. And when you see this compression, you're going to lose your freaking mind anyway. So let's pivot here. What other names you got for them out here?
So then just a couple other ideas. I kind of search for plays that might not be on a lot of people's radar. One of the things I noticed that I think is interesting is this Kansas Southern. Again, transports, it's sort of an inflation play. It's been beaten down for so long, consolidating here. The transports have been lagging the industrials for about a month now. So one of the two is either going to catch up to the other one. So if you're leaning on the bull side like I am, you're looking for ways to catch the transports catching up to the industrials. So this is, again, a pretty solid signal here. If it clears 93, this should definitely test 100, and then think it's, somewhere up here is where it would probably stop extending. Another idea, I follow this a lot just because it's been such a good mover the last few years, is this Ulta. Again, it's a compression at or near all-time high. So, all it needs is some new catalyst to get this thing up and over the hump there, and it'll just all clear skies ahead above 290, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Is that all-time highs for Ulta right there?
I'm not sure. Let me just zoom out a bit. I think it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I never knew what Ulta was, and then this client I have down here in suburbia, there's a huge store, and I mean it's massive. I mean, I don't wear any makeup or anything, but I went in there and I was just like, damn, that's what an Ulta looks like. So I think it's more hair care salon products, right?
Indeed. All right, let's pivot here and give them price line, and then we're going to take some questions here. Let's talk about this price line. Price line had a compression. This was like before Expedia earnings came out, or maybe like right at the same time. And this thing was just messing around, not really going down at all. Nobody was selling out of this thing. I was looking at the price action every day, and I saw this thing, and I'm like, shit, because I was already short puts on Expedia, so my focus was over there. And then as soon as this thing broke 1,800, I was like, oh no. Oh.
Yeah, there we go.
And look at this thing.
This is a really good example of how these signals work and how the edges work. We had a power gap, earnings gap here. You got the signals here, and people say, well, it didn't go down. Would you say the signal failed? Not necessarily. The fact that the price went sideways for about a month on these ones in March, I mean, that was fairly successful in my eyes on how these things work. And then it recompressed. And then there you go. Just took one little catalyst, new information, and off we went. So it could flag again here between 1900, 1850, but there's a lot going on here to kind of understand.
Indeed. Alex, do you mind taking pulling up a browser here and showing the market inflections? Guys, again, we launched a service called Turning Point Signals, and basically we are using this software here to provide and curate some of the best trades for you, whether you're trading options or you're trading equities. Let's go ahead and take some questions here. Again, go to marketinflections.com and subscribe here. $2.50 a month, you're going to get 2 to 3 signals per week. And again, we showed you some of the trades here. That Microsoft alone with a 10 contract lot or a 20 contract lot, you're making 6 G's, you're making 7 G's, all right? So the trades here, we don't push out that many. So it's not like I'm shooting out a trade every single day or every single hour. These are not quick day trades, although we do take a look at those as well. We do more of the swing trades that we know we're going to get some serious juice out of and a serious change in sentiment, direction, whatever it is. So take a look again, marketinflections.com. Dwayne's got a question. Are energy and oil services still shortable? This is a good one. We talked about oil last week, and the signals have been really helping out trading oil. Right now, you're getting a lot of bottom ticks in oil, and there was some great earnings from Chevron and ExxonMobil. So, Alex, I'll let you take this one away, actually.
You know what? I just found I was just going through, because I do some screening on the Bloomberg terminal using the same software, and I just found a signal that might be interesting in the oil space. Let me see if I can find it here. It was in the S&P 600 oil and gas refining only index. So there's something brewing here. I'm just kind of worn out from oil, to be honest. So I've been just shielding my eyes from that sector for a bit, but it's definitely got some trades in there. Let's look at what was it, at CL, right? This has had some good moves here. I just have been focused elsewhere, mainly in Internet of Things land. So you're retesting this signal bottom in March, but I don't know. There's not a lot here in my mind. It's just it could go up, but I don't see a big catalyst in oil.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
unless you guys have different information. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat. I'm looking at a bottom in some of the oil in actually USO in general and CL, but again, very difficult to very difficult to trade at this point. While Alex brings up this chart, Osama wants to take a look at First Solar. And we got a question here for EWZ. I see a lot of options activity in EWZ, and I know there's been some juice in some of the solar names too. So let's take a look at FSLR. Big move recently. So far, we're not getting any daily signals. Usually, we're looking for the dailies or the weeklies here. We can go for shorter time frames, and those trades will be shorter as well. But if we don't see them on some of the major time frames, chances are you might still see some more upside. I still think there's more upside for this market anyway. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we chop out a bit. There's just so much momentum in the Internet of Things. Like the semiconductors have been just on fire, because now all of a sudden everybody's realized that, oh wow, chips are not going to be just in your computers or in your phones. They're going to be in your refrigerators, in your cars, in your house, in your anything is going to have a brain to it. So a lot of these chip companies are just on fire. EWZ, I was watching this for somebody later last year, or I don't know, actually it was sometime last year. I think we're playing around with it back down in here, but this is a nice looking signal here. I don't really follow Brazil all that much. I know their employment rate's like sky high. So
this one is very optionable too, man. We see a lot of paper in this one. We see a lot of big players come in and lay, hundreds of thousands in this particular ETF. So this is very interesting. This is very interesting. So Ben, I mean, usually when we see signals like this, remember, look at how long this compression now has lasted. At this point, I would wait for a break of the recent range here, but the one thing that can always happen with compressions, and this is what we do for you with turning point signals, how many of you guys have tried to catch a move out of consolidation? You got shook out, or you got convinced that it was going in one way. You levered up, and it turned out it was just a shakeout to ruin those people in that direction, burn all the options, and then the move goes in the other direction. How many times has that happened to you guys? Frankly speaking here, it happens to all of us. And one of the things we're able to do here with turning point signals is just kind of wait, be patient here, and wait for that real move to eventually happen. So we're not just throwing darts here every single time we see a possible break of a range, and we go for a long or a short. That's a huge thing that we're able to do and bring that expertise to the table for you guys. So you're not just sitting in these things burning theta and racking up losers before the thing even moves. So this EWZ, I would go with the straddle, but I'd wait. I'd be patient on this thing. What do you think about it, Alex?
Yeah. A good rule of thumb. I think I can maybe draw this for you guys with the little fancy tool I have here. Is this is the time it took to build the signal. So basically 5 months. Now the new trend, so if it goes up or if it goes down, it's going to last in that direction for about 5 months. So when you look at your option trades and you look at how to plan this setup, it's very useful to know how long to expect this to move into the future. So that's just kind of a good tip there.
Indeed. All right, guys, take a look at marketinflections.com. And sign up, subscribe. We are working on getting this stuff into a platform basically where you can just get push notifications. Right now, you're going to get the email alerts and access to the private Twitter feed. Again, 2 to 3 equity trades or options trades a week. And so far, you guys can take a look at the track record too. It hasn't been updated as of yet. We will get an update this week, so you can take a look at what's been going on recently. Some of the bigger trades: Microsoft, Baba. The one we have now, the pharma name, the IBB right now, some of the short puts we have going on, all have been really, really good trades. And I think as we get into the summer here, there's going to be some really nice breaks from compressions too. All right, guys. So take care, hit the site, and we'll see you soon.